Your last name starts with an A, so I think you're going to have to stand up. And Jeff is running for governor, and he'll tell you a little bit about himself. He has 4 minutes.
Thank you, everybody. Rainey, thank you guys tonight. I think this has been a great turnout. I'm honored to be here, specifically in my hometown of Santa Fe. If you don't know me, I'm Jeff Apodaca, running for governor, and I'm right here from Santa Fe. In fact, the only reason I remember this place is because I go way back where I used to come here for the homecoming and the prom big fancy dinners at the Steaksmith. That's how far I go back. If you don't know, my father was governor in the 70s. Joseph and I grew up together in Las Cruces, as childhood friends. Really had no intention of going into politics. And I moved back here 8 years ago with my children and my wife, who's from Albuquerque. And a lot of people think I'm going into politics or running for office because my father was. A lot of people think I should wait my turn. But I'm actually running for office because I was told to wait my turn, and I think it's time New Mexico. I think it's time it's New Mexico's turn. We sit on $22.6 billion and invest everything outside our state and don't invest anything inside our state. And you could talk about economic plans. You could talk about, people that are talking ideas. We have been talking about solutions for over a year. The establishment thought I'd be a pretty good mayor of Albuquerque. And I decided, if you guys think I'm going to turn Albuquerque around, I think it's time we turn New Mexico around. Because it's New Mexico's turn. I'm tired of not doing the right things. I'm tired of not investing into ourselves. I have twin boys that are 9. One of my sons, last May, told me, Daddy, when you're governor, can you do me one favor? And I thought, 3rd grader, no more homework, artwork. You know what he told me? Daddy, when you're governor, can you have my friends stop leaving the state of New Mexico? My 9-year-olds have lost 6 friends in the last 18 months because their families have left for other opportunities. My 9-year-olds know we've lost 150,000 jobs in the state of New Mexico. My 9-year-olds know 57,000 New Mexicans have left the state. We have the highest unemployment in the country. We're number 1 in high school dropouts. We're last in education. We're 50th in job creation. Folks, I got one question for you. Are we just unlucky? Or do we have bad leadership at the executive level? Maybe it's time we invest into a guy that has built opportunities between the private and public sector. Maybe it's time we invest into a guy who grew up in politics, who's never held office, but has worked around the country and our region with private and public sectors, growing billion-dollar companies, starting small businesses, improving education. That's what we're about. It's about investing 5% of your money, not the state legislators' money, back into you, back into your children. I see two young gals back there. 75% of our college graduates are leaving the state, so thank you for being here tonight. Our children are leaving. We need to start investing into early child development, after-school programs, and our economic plan, 225,000 new jobs. When we do that, $1.8 billion in new tax revenue, more police officers, less crime, 300 more doctors, 3,200 more nurses. And that's what we're going to do. And please ask me any questions you want, because I don't need to put an advisory group together to be advised on how we're going to turn New Mexico around. I've been turning businesses and companies and communities around for 32 years. It's time you let me do it for New Mexico. So thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Okay. For those of you who have never heard or met Jeff before, that's a great introduction. The next letter in the alphabet is C, so I think it's Joseph Cervantes, state senator and architect.
And architect. So I want to start by, first of all, recognizing that they asked everybody to speak except my good friend Peter Wirth. And it may be because Peter and I are in the Senate, and people have learned that when you ask senators to talk, your next 4 minutes isn't going to do it. So Peter and I went to law school together, and then with Matthew, you all have terrific representation. Matthew and I are co-chairs of the Conservation and Water and Natural Resources Committee during the interim, and of course Peter's our majority leader in the Senate. And I'm pleased to serve on the Conservation Chairmanship, where Ben, I'm happy to say, you all gave me 100% score in conservation voters this year too. So I want to also, before I get too much into my platform and who I am, I want to recognize that while we celebrate last night, rightfully so, Las Cruces selected 3 new city councilors, all progressive. Las Cruces has an entirely progressive city council right now. And I'm pleased to come up from Las Cruces 4 hours to give you that message tonight, and maybe look forward to 4 hours driving home tonight to take your message back home to Las Cruces. And that message should be a couple of things. First of all, I want to let you know that when I came to Santa Fe years ago to serve in the legislature, our budget, our most important task, was done in secret. The House and Senate would purposefully pass different bills, and then they'd meet in a secret conference committee, 3 members of each chamber. And I, as a legislator, couldn't participate. The public couldn't participate. The press couldn't participate. And on the last night of the session, we'd get a surprise budget about yay big, and we'd have to find out about it days later when we had a chance to read it. Does it sound familiar to you? Does it sound like what's happening in Washington, D.C. all the time? We don't get the scoring. We don't get a chance to read it. Nobody knows what's in it. It's done in private and secret, and I changed that. I passed legislation to require that all of our committee processes and our entire budget be done in public. And let me tell you, it was opposed by the leadership in the House. It was opposed by the leadership in the Senate. It was opposed by the leadership by Democrats and Republicans both, and you can understand why. It's easier to control 6 people than it is 42 senators and 70 House members. This last week, you probably saw $18.5 million was returned to taxpayers by Presbyterian in a lawsuit fraud. That's a piece of legislation that I introduced to root out fraud and corruption in our state government. I've been in Santa Fe for a number of years with people like Peter and Matthew and Bill McCambley and others, Michael Padilla, who are here. But I've been about trying to really change the way Santa Fe does things because I saw things that were not right. Transparency, accountability, public budgeting process and legislation. And I've been a champion of hard issues. When I passed a bill this year to put on the governor's desk, which he vetoed, gun control legislation, I want to tell you, it's the first time any gun control legislation has ever been passed, not only by both chambers, but reached the governor's desk. Straightforward, smart gun control legislation that would have required a judge to take away the guns of individuals who perpetrate domestic violence. To require it. Now, let me tell you, that's not easy in New Mexico, and it's not easy in the legislature. There were a lot of other gun bills that didn't get as far. And let me tell you that years ago, and Peter will remember and worked hard with me to do this, 2 years ago, I passed the first time through the New Mexico legislature a bill to decriminalize marijuana. And we passed it by 1 vote. And when you pass, that's worth a great applause, because when you pass any bill by 1 vote, let me tell you, you've seen that in Washington, D.C. too. When you see John McCain go with that 1 vote. You've got to know what you're doing in Santa Fe to get a bill by 1 vote. And more important, this last year, we passed it by 15 votes to decriminalize marijuana. What I want to communicate to you tonight, she's giving me 30 seconds, so I'm using all my time to get applause, but thank you for that. That's good. What I want to tell you is this. I'm a champion. I'm a fighter. I'm a lawyer. I'm an architect. I'm a father. I've got 2 daughters in college here. And like Jeff, I wanted to stay here. I'm running for governor because I'm passionate about New Mexico. I'm a farmer. Nobody more than farmers needs to know how to take care of our water and our natural resources. And as I said, I want to talk to you tonight about what those issues mean to all of us statewide. And I'm proud to represent you in the Senate, but I want you to leave here knowing I'm a fighter. I came here to Santa Fe years ago, and I've taken on the biggest corporations in the country on behalf of little people, and I've won. In the same way that I did so with our legislation that I've talked about you tonight. I like big challenges, and I know how to get things done in Santa Fe, and I want to be governor because I've only been able to take it so far as a senator. I'm ready for that next step. Take these same ideas, transparency, accountability, and reform, and ultimately transform New Mexico. I'll do it with your help. Thank you.
We have one more person to introduce. His last name stumbles me horribly, so I'm going to ask Peter to introduce him.
Hi, thank you. My name is Peter DeBenedittis. People call me Peter D. It's much easier. P for progressive, D for Democrat. I'm New Mexico's true progressive Democratic governor. Now, I'm not going to give you a lot about my background. You can go to my website, peoplefirst.online, not .com, peoplefirst.online. I'm a political outsider. That should tell you something. And the most important thing is I do not take any corporate money. And that alone should be a reason to give me a serious look. Now, I'm not going to tell you about my issues and my platform. That'll come up in the debate. I need to talk to you about what's going on in the Democratic Party, because I've watched us lose 2 races for governor. I've watched us lose a race for president. And although we had such a good turnout last night, I'm really worried about what we're going to do in our governor's race next year. I mean, check out what's going on. We Democrats pick a candidate who in the past has been the son of a governor, or who's been a state party chair or a lieutenant governor, and then they just don't get a lot of appeal outside of the Democratic Party. And we wonder why we're losing when we're just having a very small representation of the issues. And I say that because historically, you guys have seen it year after year, the Democratic candidates in the primary, they all talk pretty, they're all progressive, they all support everything good, and as soon as they get elected in the primary, they run to the center. And then if they do get elected governor, they kind of get amnesia. And they don't pay attention because they're following what their donors say and not what the people promised. I was interviewed by Ben. It was quite nice. It was quite interesting. I talked to one of the board members of the Conservation Voters. I said, hey, what's up? And they said, well, the bottom line was, I'm quoting this, the bottom line is Michelle wasn't terrible. And you just didn't have enough money to be serious. So I went and looked at the money game, and I said, okay, where does Michelle get our money? P&M, known polluter, oil drillers, I haven't found if they're frackers yet, but oil drillers, and other companies. So you're going to have to make a decision. Are we going to settle for money and breadcrumbs? Come on, 50% renewable energy by 2030? California already has 45% renewable energy. And you wonder why New Mexicans can't have nice things when our activist groups settle for money as well? We see this in the Democratic Party. We just found out last week that a year before the primary started, there was a memorandum that was signed that allowed one campaign, one candidate to control employment, press releases, and emails. We found out that our state party chair and our congresswoman were helping with that victory fund, which was supposed to help candidates across the country, Democrats, but was channeled to that one candidate's campaign. You understand the corrupting influence of money? It's not like we're last for no reason. This is done strategically by corporations who get us to fight over things that are breadcrumbs while they have a systematic plan to get us poorer and poorer and poorer. And all the candidates buy into it like it's normal, like you should settle for garbage. So you got a choice. I'm the guy without the money, but I'm the guy who's going to talk square to you. I'm not going to give you pie in the sky, trickle down. I'm so sick of being trickled down on. I don't know about you. Oh my God. So I'm just going to end it there. Bottom line, if you vote same old, you're going to get same old, same old. If you choose only between big name candidates with a lot of money, you may as well have a ruling class. I don't have a big name. I have a long name. Please give me a look.